I don't do well with the fact that I am old. Gotta word it correctly. I am aware of a lot of things. Like, it's almost insane. Okay, now that you've digested that, so for the fact that I'm disabled and I don't enjoy the fact that I am disabled, I don't really like to say that I am disabled, but for the fact that this line is here for a reason. It wasn't because of fucking stabbing. It wasn't because of some crazy ex. It wasn't because of some fucking dude. It wasn't because of anything that I did. It's all hereditary from my understanding, from what I was explaining to a doctor. Like, I don't know how the validity of things go when money is involved in things. I do realize that people will do whatever it takes to, achieve their dreams sometimes when they say, what are you willing to do? And you say whatever could literally mean sacrificing your firstborn child, could mean sacrificing your relationship with your mother, your father, your wife, whatever it means. Whatever it takes could literally mean completely destroying whatever others may have perceived you before, just so you could obtain this whole entire new world that you may not even enjoy as long as you thought you would, because some things are just better inside your head. So I'm just glad that I've been able to live some of my smaller fantasies just to realize that I don't know what I want. All the things that were thrown in front of me were just things that I assumed that I want. Like, of course, who doesn't fucking want a fast car? Clearly, somebody that prefers slow cars. Of course, who wouldn't want to go to parties? Clearly, somebody that doesn't like parties. Somebody that enjoys their alone time or enjoys to be a more of a nature place compared to money and electricity and just too much humans. It's just everybody is different. And more people are right than they are wrong about what a perfect life is, but I don't believe any perfect life could be constructed out of other people's suffering, rather if it's kids. Okay. Some people suffering. Because the pedophiles, the child molesters, the human traffickers, the rapists, those that can't be rehabilitated, if they were the only ones suffering, the world would be a better place. But to take into consideration even the more open-minded thinking, when reincarnation is put into implication, how do you know that the rapist of one life doesn't turn to be the Buddhist of another life? That doesn't turn into be something else in another life. Like, the soul probably carries weights, and that's what makes me question. Like, when people get those life sentences, it's like 3 life sentences, 400 years or 300 years. I'm questioning, like, you know the human life expectancy ain't that long. Like, are you imprisoning their soul, or is that like if, like, let's say if I do something so dastardly that they imprison me and they give me like 2 life sentences, does that mean, like, if I am reincarnated, assuming that is what happens in this existence, that I come back in a lesser life form, or I just come back in a life form where it's just like for like the first whatever left on my, like, say 2 life sentences. I don't know what that is. What, 35 years? I think it is. So what, that essentially be 70 years. So let's say I live out 35 years of this life sentence, die, and then I'm reincarnated into a new life. And it's like my first 35 years going to be absolute ass and shit because of what I did in my previous life, because of the soul balance, not soul balance, but like the soul carry. Like, does does it all add up, or is it done individually? Like, you can be great in this life, horrible in this one, the average in that one, a fucking background character in another one, fucking rock in another. It's just like, I don't know, that's just my thought process. Now, to continue on where I originally started this video. Oh, being aware. So for the fact that I'm so aware of a lot of things, it's just, yeah, I am a mad person, but I don't assume like the mad is an anger. It's like mad is an anger. It never shuts the fuck up. I have moments where it might go blank, but it happens so quickly. It's like, hey, and there are some people that can get me to quiet down or just like shut up, but it's just like, it's such a rare special few. It's just like, oh, now I gotta marry you, now I gotta fuck you, now we gotta get more intimate with each other. Cause like for as easy as I can communicate, and you got me clammy and like not like I'm shutting up because the only thing I have is rude thoughts. And if I only have rude thoughts, then why say them anyways? Because there's already enough hate and disgust in this whole entire world that, like, it doesn't fucking matter. That's what I was talking about. I was only continuing to talk because I fucking forgot what I was talking about. Disability. I don't see myself as a disabled fucking person. I do not see, like, look at me. Do I look like and that's the fucked up part, because I am aware that there are, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess blind disabilities, which is essentially mine. Like, I am a congestive heart patient with pulmonary hypertension. But I grew up in an environment with more severely disabled, well, severely or more, could have been either one. I grew up in an environment with severely disabled siblings that had shaken baby syndrome, autism, fetal alcohol syndrome. One of my sisters, her mother did a fucking speedball of coke 8 hours before giving birth to her, and she was born with actually deceased as we're currently speaking. She was born a quadriplegic with fuck, what was it? Cerebral palsy, and just like, I don't know if it's brain dead or brain damaged, but I would say it's more or less brain damaged because she was at least reactive in her environment. So she could show displeasure, she can show enjoyment. So I wouldn't say brain dead, because brain dead, I would assume, could be wrong because there are levels to a lot of things, and I barely know surface level on everything. So I would say brain damage because she was at least aware enough to be able to show displeasure as well as pleasure. So we knew when she was upset. We just never knew when it came to conversating and communicating. It was definitely a whole one sided, which makes it very easy for me to dominate conversations because I grew up in an environment where a lot of conversations were one sided. And I mean, in the aspects where I was doing all of the talking, and even in certain instances where I was just doing all of the detective work. Like, they weren't necessarily using audible vocational languages that I would get, you would get. It wasn't even sign language. It was just a bunch of bullshit. Like, basically, like how the phenomenon of twins creating their own type of language. I had that with my own siblings. I could understand through certain sounds, through certain grunts, through certain inflections in their voices what was going on, as well as certain smells. So it's like, how do you expect me to be normal when I don't have a basis for normal? Normal is what you personally go through, what you personally experience. So for the fact that we all have different upbringings, we all have different environments, we all could live in the same home and still have different experiences because of the fact that everybody is treated differently, because of the fact that everybody is different. So it's just like, I don't know. It always bugged me because I always wanted to be normal, but I've never been normal. Fuck, I'm a Haitian. This is America, wrong country, Ethan. I'm adopted. You don't even know your own family, Ethan. Ethan is my second name. Come on, Florian, give the program. What's your name? What do you mean? Like, a lot of questions to me have a lot of layers, and it's stupid because when they say, how's your family? The adopted one or the birth one? What's your name? The adopted one or the birth one? How do you feel? Am I allowed to tell you? Does it matter? Like, there's just so many layers, or maybe I believe that there's so many layers to things when people are just being shallow with it. But what I've come to also learn when it came to communicating with people is it's just had so many layers. Like, you can't be disabled, you can't be, and you're right, I can't be, so I won't be. And then it's just like, why am I acting like this? Why do I feel like this? Oh shit, I do have an issue, don't I? Well, not if I don't believe in it. If I don't believe there's a problem, then there isn't a problem. So what's wrong with me? I don't know. It's just, I get a lot of chest pain every once in a while. Dude, what's on your chest? Well, it's not a stabbing story. It's not a crazy ex story, and it's not a crazy fight story with some dude and some chick. It's just like, no, I was born with this, but like a disability, no. It's just a line on my chest. It's just the way that my mind works. It's just like, the more that I learn, the more bizarre that I think life is. It's just a bunch of brainwashing, gaslighting yourself that everything's all right when it is what you want it to be. It is what you think it is. It can be all right, but for others to judge your life might seem insane. It might seem crazy. It's like, if that was that's not normal. You're not normal. You know you're abnormal, right? No, I don't know I'm abnormal. Actually, if you never ever inferred any of this information, I mean, I would have never known I was abnormal. I thought everybody was like this. I thought everybody had adopted siblings that didn't speak or had different, from different parts of the world, essentially. Well, different parts of the state, as well as because there is me from Haiti, there was Juan from Honduras, there was other siblings from, like I said, across the states of the U.S. So it's just like, I had a worldly life at home, so I didn't really need the internet, but I'm glad I grew up in the time that I did, because with the internet, I've been able to realize, oh, I couldn't ever be normal. I was never born normal. I had no settings for normal. How could I be normal when there was nothing in place for me to ever be fucking normal? Heart issues. That's not a normal thing for normal people to have. Being abandoned, that's not a normal childhood. Being adopted into a foreign country, that's not normal. Being adopted into a fucking large home, that's basically a mental asylum. At least that's how I describe it. That's not normal. Having siblings of all various disabilities from mental to physical at the same time, sometimes both, that's not normal. Having a sibling that basically does all the house chores and doesn't allow you to assist, that's not normal. Helping your parents take care of your siblings' medical needs, or going to doctor's visits, or having so many dogs inside the house, or having foster siblings, depending on the time of year, that's not normal. Like, it is if you have my life, but if you have your life, what's normal to you might be waking up at 6 a.m. every single morning, getting hugs and kisses before you go to school, getting dressed and never having to hear loud noises or this or that, like getting a ride to school, maybe taking the bus, maybe walking to school. What your normal, what my normal is, are very different things, but we assume that we could just be like, oh, come on, what? Your uncle didn't always give you $20 every time they saw you? No, mine used to try to molest me. No, mine used to try to kill me. No, mine doesn't even exist. My parents are only children. So, like, what do you mean, extended family? There is no such thing as normal, but you wouldn't believe that, especially if you grew up on TV, which is partly how I did. So, I kind of should have figured out from being aware, but I didn't really become more aware until 12, I would say. But, like, I was slightly aware from the start, or at least the 3 or 4, because I don't remember much of my earlier childhood. But I do remember looking at my hands inside the fucking bathroom mirror in the 2-story house. So maybe that was, no, I was definitely older than 4 then. That was 7, maybe 8 or 9. Because I remember the bathroom. It was the bathroom that was in the living room area. It was a wacky setup. But a lot of space. And like I remember a lot of the other things, but it's just connecting the dots of when did I focus to being more consciously aware, and also being able to dig through the archives of my mind, because my mind's keeping me safe with things that I don't want to remember. I don't need to remember. I'm not ready to, I guess, overcome and remember. But it's being comfortable with being disabled, and also being comfortable with accepting the fact that people aren't always going to accept that you're disabled, because what's a disability to those that aren't educated? Exactly. I'm educated in the community, and I still don't believe I have a disability. So that's just me being ignorant. And yes, people can be ignorant, people can be stubborn, and people could know better but still not do better. Like, the problem with me is, if you tell me that I know better, or if you tell me that, come on, I expected more from you, it plays into my, it's easy to guilt me 9 times out of 10, if I'm feeling emotional. But if I'm not feeling emotions that day, then you can't convince me into doing anything. Not a damn thing. I turn autistically stubborn, which is sometimes why I think I'm autistic, as well as other things. Like, I know there's more than just the physical disabilities, but it's already hard to get people to accept I'm physically disabled because how good I look, and how I don't even think about it 9 times out of 10, and for how strong I am, how flexible I am, how I just maneuver my body. Would you believe this? Do you even believe it? Even though I've told you, and I could probably show you medical records, but you can't convince anybody anything, no matter how much proof you give them. And I know this because I've tried it multiple times with multiple people, and I just like, I'm delusional too in some instances. So why am I mad at you when you're just teaching me things? Sometimes I'm the teacher and sometimes I'm the student, and I don't love the fact that I'm disabled, but my disability is what makes me, as well as my abnormalities. Like, I could never be normal. And I explained to you guys why I could never be normal. So the sooner you guys accept it, the sooner you guys will be happy. It's taken me years and years and years and years, because I thought I could be normal. I thought, well, just because they don't have that doesn't mean I can't still be normal. You know what, motherfucker? Just accept that you're normal in your own world. But in everybody else's world, you're going to be abnormal, because there's no such thing as a universal normal. There's no such thing. There is no such thing as a universal normal. There's no such thing as a universal everybody. Okay, no, that's wrong. because everybody is different, and that's a universal everybody that does fit everybody. You might find those that are similar, but there's always going to be that one little, what makes you different than me? Maybe it's many things, or maybe it's just one thing. Either way, I'm a disabled that doesn't act it, that doesn't look in, most of the times forgets it, but I am disabled. Rather, if I want to accept it, rather, if you guys want to accept it, my medical record says it. I'm disabled in one way, if not another. And I don't fucking enjoy it. And I don't let it slow me down. I don't, like, because I also see people that I have, aside from my siblings, have different disabilities, but for the fact that they're not as clouded mentally as my siblings were, they still have the spectacular body like I do. Like, I've literally seen people with half their bodies look better than me. I've seen a Down syndrome dude have a better body than me. Like, I've seen people half their body damage have better bodies than me, and that's why I came to realize that the reason why I have such an issue believing that I am disabled is because I believe more or less the disability is a mental thing over a physical thing. So for you to call me disabled and for me to be able to outdo people that don't have heart issues, it's just like, then if I'm disabled, then what the fuck are they? Like, if I'm weak, then what the fuck are they? If I'm slow, then what the fuck are they? If I am so bad, then how the fuck did I beat the majority? I'm confused. I am confused. I'd be a good spokesperson because, like, I make disabilities look good as well as those people I've seen with disabilities, which is why I think a lot of the times disabilities are more mental than physical. But then again, when you get into the mental disabilities, it's just like if you can't get over your mental hurdles, it's like you can't control your physical hurdles as well. So it's like, oh, it's a lot of things that go into it. And I can talk your ear off forever, but I don't have forever. My time's running out. Until next time, though.